absent. Bowyer. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
That's all right. That's habit.
That's habit. That's one we're going to miss.
Dixon.
Present.
Elliott.
Here.
Gilliam.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
And Raleigh.
I'm here.
We have a quorum, and so call the meeting to order. And Miss Elliott, would you open the invocation, please?
Everybody stand, please. Our Heavenly Father, once again we're proud to be able to come before the throne and ask you, dear Lord, to guide us in this meeting. Guide us to make decisions towards this town in your will, dear Lord, and for the citizens, dear Lord. And just make sure that we're pointing it in your direction in all that we do. We pray for our president. We pray for all of our governments, dear Lord, that we'll all get back in your will for these things. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll call the meeting to order and welcome the guests and the people that are present. And this is a special call meeting, and only the subjects on the agenda may be discussed. And the first item on the agenda is the Harlan County Sheriff, Marvin Lipfird. He's coming forth to make a presentation.
First thing, we'll go over some taxes, because that's what we was looking for last week. I'll left everyone a copy of the breakdown that was collected last week. I guess it's in your thing. If not, I'll use a copy of it. Breakdown basically as follows. The official receipts were $158,808.67. This is for last year's property tax collection. Penalties were $1,204.03, which total charges are $160.12. When you bring in the credits, delinquents, the exonerations, county and city exonerations, your total credits are $18,496.24. Your net yield would be $141,516.46. Less the commissions, sheriff's commission is $6,058.53 for collection. You all received $135,457.93, which basically we turned over $14,344.75 in delinquent taxes. That's about an 88.9 or 89.8%, 88.9% collection rate. The 135,000. Where Robin was there, she can correct me if I'm wrong. When we first took over, I think the collection rate was around 65–70%.
Yeah.
So it's a substantial increase on standard collection. On your April 16, 2012, the clerk's office, which Donna gave this to me, she had basically paid the city of Cumberland an additional $6,183.50 in delinquent taxes. So you're getting, I'm not going to say you're going to get 100% of your taxes, but you're getting pretty close. Yes, getting pretty close. So actually, so what I'm wondering is if the city wants us to continue to collect your taxes, you all need to set your rate and basically, I guess, pass a resolution or enter into an agreement with us to do so. Also with the clerk's office, because we start mailing out, we have to go get them printed. And regardless of whether you do or not, our bills are going out on time. We have to. We're on the schedule now.
Our, was you done?
Yes, sir.
Is our rate, it ain't, where our rate has changed, right?
It's the same as it was last year, and you have the first reading tonight of the tax rate.
Right.
And the two resolutions that he needs, one for him to collect and one for the county clerk to collect, are in your. They're to be read and approved tonight.
And this resolution 387 is exactly the same as 377. I looked that up.
That's
Yeah,
There's no change in it.
yeah. No, there's
Yeah,
no change.
same thing.
Yeah.
This ordinance 434, that's the tax rate, right?
434, yes.
That's the one we need to do first?
Yeah, but we're not doing that right now. That's not a change. But we will get to it in according to the agenda, okay?
Okay.
That's number 6, 7 on the agenda, okay?
Number 7?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And Marvin, you have Does anyone have any questions on anything else that's pertaining to the taxes right now that he could answer for you?
The only thing he's collecting the delinquent taxes too, correct?
Donna, the statute changed 2 years ago. The sheriff used to collect delinquents and then sell, and then I guess you'd say the ultimate delinquent would go to the clerk's office after that. The statute changed, like I said, about 2 or 3 years ago, and now what happens is we're on a schedule. They go out either October 1 or November 1. We get a new schedule every year. That's the state. Revenue cabinet mandates when they go out. They mandate when you stop. We stop usually on April 15. When we stop April 15, they automatically become delinquent, go to the clerk's office. People can go to the county attorney's office and set up a payment schedule. There's huge penalties though when they do go delinquent. There's huge penalties added on, because not only the penalties from the sheriff's office added, you got the penalties at the clerk's office, and that sometimes fluctuates. So I can't really give you their exact. Then your all's penalties, then the interest earned on top of that. So especially pay taxes on time. But you know, that's basically the way they're collected. And then Donna has a sale. At a certain point, she has to have a sale, the clerk does. When she begins to sell, that's when a lot of land companies have been coming in. They've been doing it in Northern Kentucky for years. The last probably 5 years, we were really starting experiencing.
So they buy up to delinquent?
Oh, yeah, and then they pop it to you because they're allowed to charge 12% interest, and on top of what you've already gotten your penalty, because they're paying all the penalties and everything. So if your tax bill is, say, it's $1,000, then you start adding in the sheriff's fee penalty, clerk's fee penalty, your all's fee penalty, then the interest on top of that. Then there's a 12% interest that the land company can add to it, plus their legal fees.
So most of the
Which are not really
properties,
a whole lot of legal fees right now.
most of it's put up for sale then?
Yeah, because I mean it can go up $5,000-$6,000 just like that.
And that becomes effective on what day, October?
No, that's been
April?
effective for the last two and a half, 3
No,
years.
I mean, yeah, I knew that because I know somebody that got socked like that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is after April 15th, then they come in and buy them up, or?
No, April 15th is when we turn them over as delinquent. There's a grace period, I think it's 30 or 60 days. Like I said, it's, Donna would actually be more, because I don't pull into her office.
Right.
She can tell you more on the delinquent side now, because once the statute changed, that took all sheriffs in Kentucky, that took us completely out of delinquency and the sales of it. And also, like I said, you can go to the county attorney's office and make arrangements through the county attorney to make payments. And I don't know if there's a fee to that. I'm sure there probably is. There's a fee to about everything.
I want people to feel worried, you know, that will happen, because it's devastating whenever you get the bill from the landowner, I know.
Right. Right. And
You
with
don't
us,
know yet if it's gonna be October or November, they haven't said it yet.
we will know first of next month. The thing about us collecting them, Donna and them printing them, you all are not out the postage, and you're not out the cost of printing. So you're saving on your printing, because they have to pay to print, we have to pay to the postage. And on the card, it's just a line item, so it's not a separate bill, it's not anything like that. You know, so you're actually saving money there also.
Do you need a motion on this?
Not just yet.
He's going away, he said number 7, I believe.
Yeah, 6, 7, and 8.
6.
The resolutions and things are in your package there. So that's great.
Okay.
Any further questions on the taxes? If not, Marvin, I got your cost estimate on the police protection program that you got working now. If you'd like to explain that to the council.
Last week, the mayor had approached me, and I was up there making sure we were going to have a meeting to put some taxes. Basically, to make sure we were going to do this, but it's not. Like I said, our bills have to go out the door. But asked me to work my cost estimate up on what it would cost if we provided your law enforcement services. And it's kind of a hard area to actually give you cost. I can tell you what it costs us per deputy, what it costs us to equip the deputies, which you all have it there in front of you. You know, basically, I mean, it's kind of there's only one sheriff's office in the city of state that's doing it, which is Henry County and Simpsonville. And, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. The cost is basically $40,000 per deputy. Actually, it's $37,707.80. The reason I say $40,000 because the retirement will fluctuate some. Workers' comp does fluctuate. We pay a lower workers' comp rate than we normally do. We pay 3.22%. I'm not sure exactly what the percentage is. I think it's a little bit lower than what you'll pay. Cost of 4 deputies is $160,000. That's a base cost. Then the 5 deputies is $200,000. Self-explanatory, the city of Cumberland, I wouldn't enter into an agreement where we would have to buy cars unless it's a long-term agreement. I wouldn't recommend you enter into a long-term agreement with anyone on anything like that, because if you want to change it, you're kind of stuck in some things. That's just my opinion. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, the equipment that we can put in the cars, how we uniform the deputies, pretty much there it is. I mean, it's pretty much long and short of it. You have to determine your cost savings on insurance, your cost savings on your dispatch and all that. That's I don't know what you're spending, that's in utilities and things like that. I don't know what your overtime, how much you're spending overtime. So you have to, like I said, you have to do a cost analysis and determine that. This is basically a simple proposal. If you want to go into like a negotiation where we get into really fine dollars and cents, we can do that, but I didn't want to spend all the time doing all that, not knowing whether we're going to go that far in depth.
What about the alcohol tax money that we get in the city? How would that?
That still goes to the city, has nothing to do with the sheriff.
But it would be allocated to the police protection programs or whatever the police protection is. That's where it goes.
That would be, how many patrolmen up here are you?
You'd have a total of 5. I would put one myself. That would be one person per shift, and the 5th person would rotate. If someone's going to in-service training, they're going to do vacation.
What if you have a big event in Harlan? Say if you have a football game, you have an emergency in Harlan,
Off-duty deputies work the ball games.
would they ever be pulled away from here?
No.
Would they, when you're transporting prisoners to jail, would they be covered? Someone have them, the city be covered?
There's one of 2 or 3 ways to do that. We can either work with the city of Benham and Lynch to make some sort of an agreement to cover, or one of the deputies, other deputies in the other area, when they hear someone call their 10-15, in other words, they have a prisoner, they can come do the transport, or they can come cover, and that officer can transport. There's just 1 or 2 different, like I said, about 2 to 3 different ways you can do that.
So the city wouldn't be left
24-hour
unprotected?
protection, 7 days a week?
Yes, ma'am.
One patrolman. The city's gonna be responsible for all the wages, including retirement, health insurance, and all that, everything?
Not the city,
You
the
put the
county.
cost of the bill for the,
Oh, the county?
We
Yeah.
pay them, you know how we pay a dispatch rate?
Uh-huh.
It's basically the same principle. We pay them a certain rate monthly, I'm assuming.
be monthly, quarterly. If you want to pay all of it at one time, it could either be all up front or half up front, or we can do the quarterly, monthly thing, which the school system does quarterly. We contract with the school system, provide the deputies in high school.
So it's not the first time you've done something like this?
No, we did it before, like I said, we did the school. Schools fluctuated. They started off with 5, we had 5, then it went down to 4. The sheriff's office has actually done that for on and off for a while, but we've done it consistently since '07. They had one up at the elementary school. Budget didn't allow for it last year, and it didn't allow for it this year. So now they have 2 at the county high school.
So they pay you just a quarterly rate?
Payment, yes.
Dispatching fees to Harlan, the city of Harlan?
We're
would that
already
be-
paying the city of Harlan $12,000 a year, which is basically what you all pay.
So we wouldn't be paying the 12,000 anymore if we had?
No.
Did you say the 40,000, then, let's see, that'd be 160,000 for 4?
Yes, ma'am.
That'd be 4, 5 would be 200,000.
Yes, ma'am.
This sounds good, but honestly, the people voted us, the people in this city is counted on having a police department. And I would feel like that this would have to be, I think it needs to go on an election poll to
Well, like
poll
I
our
said, I was just asked to
citizens.
bring your proposal.
Yeah, that's good. I like to hear that. But I would really like to hear the citizens, what
I
they
don't want
would.
to say pleasant.
Is this what you gave us, a total cost, what it would cost quarterly?
I broke down quarters, just divided by 4, then like I said, then there's a upfront cost we're gonna have, because I don't know what kind of equipment you have in the cars and stuff, I don't know any of the vehicles and stuff like that, so, we've got the MDPs, which is mobile data terminals in all our vehicles.
you'll be using your all's, or ours?
Your cars.
Your cars.
Unless you want to enter an extremely long-term agreement, because that's a huge investment.
And you see that we would pay the insurance on our cars, or would you,
No.
you all would pay for it, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Would you all pay
Well,
repairs?
Risk liability, because we're not employees of the city, you're just contracting, your risk liability falls on, actually, I can't say it falls away, but what I'm saying is, the deputies are employees of the Harlan County Sheriff's Office, so they're covered by KCO, which is the Association of Counties, which is like your league of cities. And so therefore, we have a blanket policy, and it's called a law enforcement policy. It covers us and the constables. And whether we've got 5 deputies or 500 deputies, well, 5 or 50, it's pretty much the same. So that's not going to fluctuate. Because I already checked with KCO to see what it would cost our insurance to go up, and they said it wouldn't cause us to go up. But the liability on the officers' actions and stuff falls to the sheriff's office because they're employees of the sheriff's office.
What about like car repairs, maintenance?
Maintenance and vehicle repairs, everything falls to the sheriff's office.
Well,
So-
it says the city of Cumberland will be responsible for providing vehicles for personnel that's hired. What if one of our vehicles just goes kaput or wrecked, or you're saying we'd have to buy another car?
Not a new car, if, I don't know how many cars you actually have, to be honest about
How many do we have?
5.
We have 5.
it. Okay, we can sit down, like I said, if you all decide to do this, we can sit down and work something. This is not ironclad, this is not carved in stone. We can, we can negotiate on all that, but, for me to go out and buy 4 brand new cars or 4 good used cars right off the bat, that's not feasible.
Wouldn't be
for me to do
feasible.
that. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you, it's just not feasible for me to do that.
I think it's worth something looking at, but I'm like, Ron, I think that it's something we need to kind of get to tell the citizens and look at it more. I mean,
If you
it's
want
not
more
enough to make a
in-depth-
decision.
If you want a more in-depth cost analysis, both sides, I'll gladly sit down with the mayor. I'll gladly provide you pretty much to the penny what it costs us and what it costs you all, what you all know what's going to cost you all. But you have to determine what your savings is, because I don't know your finances.
Robin, I think you've got one of these for the city's finances, and Robin got this together today to show what our expenses are. And if you consider all of the variables in this, like the insurance, maintenance, the city would save, our expenses are about $264,000 a year.
And this would, and if you all decide, I mean, this is actually a little bit of a process, because you have to enter into an interlocal agreement.
Yeah.
We're talking local government, they've sent me a copy of an interlocal agreement that is used in this fashion. The fiscal court had to vote to increase the salary cap to accept the money from you all, because by statute, we're capped every year. I have 2 budgets. I have a yearly budget and a fiscal year budget, calendar and fiscal year. And so they have to amend my calendar year budget, which is what our salaries and benefits and all that is capped at. So, this actually is a process, so, a little bit of a process.
It's got KU and phone, but we still have that cost here in the city because we still have to have an office here.
You don't need it all.
No,
They
it
wouldn't be
wouldn't.
here. Their office is in their
You mean they'd
cars.
have to travel to Harlan?
No.
For what, I mean,
I mean, why would you not need an office for your police officers? You just need to come on duty and run around, you don't need an office.
They need to
Is that what
patrol.
you're saying?
I'm sorry.
There's-
I didn't have, I'm sorry.
That part-
No.
Partially deaf.
We've got a KU phone, we've got KU and a phone bill, all
Yes, ma'am.
right? Why would we not
Oh,
need
okay.
that? Why would that cost still not be ours?
When you put the mobile data terminals in their cars, the only thing they would need to be able to access is the internet. They can come in here during not regular business hours and do that. If there's a need for the office, if there's actually a true need for it, then we can go from there.
I mean, where would they
Deputies work out
file?
in the county.
Where would they file their reports and things?
Reports are done electronically online. They hook to the internet, transmit them, they come to the office electronically. Everything's done electronically.
Yeah,
And so it goes into the administrative captain's computer, he reviews everything.
but it shouldn't be a personal computer, I mean, should be one that
No, it's in
the
the
city
car.
owns. Oh, it's in the car?
It's mounted
in
in the car.
Okay, so see, I'm not a police officer, so I don't know that.
If you want to after the meeting, you can see Myron's vehicle it's set up with mobile data. It's a computer in the car, and everything's transmitted via wireless like that, or transfer.
So you're saying there'd never be a need for them having an office up here, period?
I'm not gonna say never, because I don't know completely. Like I said, it's just limited, so I'm not gonna lie to you and say absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like them, we could get the suggestions from the citizens since they put it in it. But I'd like to see more, if you could figure it more to the penny, you know, to see what
Actually,
it.
the cost per personnel, that is to the penny. There is
40,000, basically 40,000
Yes.
for.
Yes,
And would any of our police officers be transitioned into this?
that's up to them. We can sit down and talk. I have nothing personal against any police officers, quite sure what you may think.
But you're gonna need some officers
Yeah,
to
yes,
do it.
yes.
I have one question which the mayor may be able to answer, you may be able to answer. I've always been under the impression that a city must have a chief of police. So would the city still need to employ a chief of police to remain a city?
To remain a city,
No.
you need, I don't see that, because like I said, Pleasantville, the city of Pleasantville, which is a city in western Kentucky, they've done the exact thing you're talking about with the Henry County Sheriff's Office. You would need to, we could research it. I mean, I don't care, but Parker would be better research and give your legal advice. I'm not going to give you legal advice.
I know Jenkins, they don't have a sheriff,
Well,
Police
positions are created by the council, and the chief of police happens to be an officer of the city. And the same as the city clerk.
It's
And
the only
those
two
positions are created and disbanded by the council.
We average having how many officers on duty on the weekends and all?
Just varies which weekend it is, but we try to keep it at least 3 to 4 people. If you got a transfer, you gotta have that many people.
That's my problem with this, and it is my problem. And you're offering a good program, but we live in a city where it's a wet town.
Right.
We're dealing with drug activity that we always deal with and breaking in. And I would really be opposed to this because of that, because I don't think we could get the coverage for
Our
our
worst
citizens.
fear is transferring, like Marvin.
Right.
Yeah.
He's close by where he gets most of the time, where his deputies, but we have to transfer from here to Lipfird, that's
Yeah.
30, I'm gonna say 32 miles.
Yeah,
That's all
give or
I'm
take,
talking
yeah.
about.
And people knows
Then we
this, they
got-
learned this
Even if it's 2
too.
or 3, then you got 1 or 2 vehicles going down that way, you gotta have somebody here to hold the fort.
That's true.
Benton Lynch is 1 officer, most of the time on day shift. Sometimes Lynch will have 1 on second. Benton, I don't know how they do theirs, but most of the time they don't have nobody on weekend.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, see, they're not wet.
They're not weekend, so they don't,
Yeah,
they're off.
that would be my biggest concern about this is the safety of, being able to have enough officers on duty.
I think he did say something about on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday were high priority.
Because there would be 4 officers, there would still be a 5th deputy put on, because there would be an overlap there. If there's no vacations, nothing like that, then usually Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the way you work the 8-hour schedule, there would be like a swing shift in there where a second officer would be on duty, which is usually your busiest nights, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, in those times.
So you're not really covering what you call a wet area right now?
Yeah, City of Cumberland, and Harlan County, so we.
No, I mean,
they need
like in the
help with it.
contract like this, that's what I'm saying.
I don't understand the question. I'm not
Well,
smart.
I mean, you're coming to Cumberland, but you're not set up, with our officers and stuff like that. Cumberland is the only one that is actually what you call wet.
Wet,
You have to
right.
cover 24/7.
Right.
We really need to, like you say, maybe put it out and let the citizens respond, get their opinions, but it's something where we really need to consider some things like this nature, because all cities are having a terrible time surviving financially right now, and not just Cumberland, but most of the cities.
Well, with our water department and the shape it's in is all the places they're looking to try to save jobs and not give anything away, but
the primary purpose is safety of the people.
That's true.
And that's regardless of the funds.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Sheriff Lipford is, that's
Well,
his.
I've got another question that, probably would never happen, but it may. What if an incident comes up while we're under contract with you and something happens and we want to get out of this? Is there a clause in there you
Yeah,
can
you
get
can
out
put
of
that in
it?
the contract, it's a 30-day clause or 60-day clause. That's what I'm saying, this is not a contract that
Yeah.
I'm giving you, it's just a small breakdown of the cost, a huge cost analysis.
Yeah.
It would be part of the interlocal agreement that you have to do. I mean, it would take the county attorney sitting down with Parker, after, you know, I'm county attorney, me sitting down with Parker, the mayor, and you all, or whatever, plus we have to get some more from local government. I can't think of the gentleman's name, but he would actually come in and help us do the interlocal agreement, because that's what he specializes in.
Would it be just like a yearly?
Yeah, I probably would recommend doing it more than a year at a time.
So-
Similar to tax collection, even though it's clearly proven that the tax collection side of it worked, I wouldn't recommend going more than a year at a time, because you still want to tie yourself up for the long-term,
So if we,
multi-year contract, you still want to do that.
hypothetically, if we tried it, and we tried it for a year, and then we said, or it ain't gonna work out, we could, our contract will be up, we'd be out of it, or we could put a clause in there that if we saw we didn't like it after 6 months, we could get out of it.
Right.
Well, see, that's what I was interested in, because you may have something occur that would cause that contract to be void for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta look at
Anything could
probabilities.
happen.
Oh, you do, you do. I mean, oh, you absolutely do. I mean, it just may not be a good marriage.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't know till you try, and sometimes you may not want to try. I mean, it's just, it may not be a good marriage. It may turn out to be the marriage made in heaven, so to speak. But yeah, you'd have to have an out. We would have to have an out.
that's true.
We'd have to have an out because.
Yeah, you might get into it
You
and
know,
not
be able
like
to see
it.
such financial dire straits that you couldn't pay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
You
I
know?
remember when
There has to be, there'd be an out.
I remember when we did away with our dispatching, everybody, I mean, the citizens and all, a lot of people just dead set against it, and it ended up going through, and after a while, you know, we got used to it. And
Well, change is not good for the sake of change.
yeah,
If there's a purpose and there's an end result, that the end game, so to speak, it turns out to be better for you, you know, financially, everything, not just financially, I mean, because you're looking at life safety issues. If it's better to keep the police department, keep your police department, if that's what you really feel. If not, you know, there's just so many variables there. There's intangibles that you can't touch and can't even bring. I mean, there's so many, I can throw a million scenarios out. Well, you know, this, that, but it won't be fair to do that.
agree.
All right, say, you know, I know a constable serves papers in the state for doing that. We have had some of our police officers that has had to do that. Where does that money end up? Does it go back to the city, or does it? I don't know, that's the reason I'm asking.
Statutes being, the next legislative session, when it comes to constables, which is a totally different ballgame than the city police officer, because they have the academy trained, constable people don't. But constables actually by statute are supposed to turn in the money to the county treasurer. They're supposed to then get paid so much for that paper out of each thing, that the county's supposed to benefit somewhat financially. But the Sheriff's Association, the Kentucky Association of Chiefs of Police, has got the Academy, which is the Department of Criminal Justice, to draft up legislation basically to limit the constable duties. It's pretty much almost stricken from office for you. Trying to give you that constitutional limit to do it. As for city police officers, that comes down to your policy. The sheriff's office is a fee office. That's how we operate. Period. But now, as for, like, if you've got an officer serve papers off duty, like right now, they work, if you've worked for me, you're not allowed to do that. The city police officers are allowed to do that if you all allow it. That's totally up to you all, the chief. I mean, that money is just, that's between you all. I mean, that has nothing to do with us or the constable anymore. They can make money that way, they can make money.
You would supply uniforms,
Yes, ma'am.
everything like that.
You supply all their equipment, guns, everything,
Weapons.
training. I'm trying to think of everything that's in the police department.
It should be on the back page of that proposal. And that's, like I said, that's not everything. That's the stuff the mayor asked me.
You maintain the cars and you put everything, all the equipment in there that's required.
Does someone,
If we drop the program with you, then you get your equipment back out.
Or you can purchase it. I'll surplus it, you can purchase it.
That's on the
what
first
about,
time.
do you have someone who keeps track of like mileage on cars?
Yeah, we do a monthly audit.
When it should be, oil change should be done, tires rotated?
We went from a 3,000 to 5,000 change. 5,000, let's say it's a brand new car. First 5,000, it gets an oil change, filters checked. 10,000, oil change, tires rotated. 15,000, which used to be 12. 15,000, oil change, tires are not rotated, brakes are checked, filters are changed, whether needed or not. And it's just a cycle. That's a three-way, it's called a 3-bit cycle. That's the way we do it, that's what the state police does, that's the way pretty much every state agency does.
Do you give a monthly report
Yes, you'll get a comprehensive monthly
So,
report. Yeah, I'll give you
of everything that would be done, arrest, maintenance, anything that we
property
bought?
checks, everything. You have
Yeah, I'm gonna call it, yeah, well, yeah, we get proper check. I've got activity.
The thing I do like, that you guys pay retirement, that you would be able to transition some of our officers, and probably, I'm sure it'd be the top ones, but, that you'd be able to transition those into, but that retirement means a lot that we're not be able to give.
Well, all of us are gonna be able to eat when we get old.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
let's put
right.
it this way, if we go into this program for a year and then you're gonna pay retirement and stuff, and we got the program, then there you go.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's.
I mean, you gotta consider that.
Right, if you're not part of the state retirement system, that's totally up to you all.
Yeah.
That's-
And then you gotta think about officers that this program wouldn't take. You're gonna have to pay unemployment.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
That's what I'm
You gotta
saying,
add
there's so
that
many
in.
variables that you have to
Yeah,
sit
you
down
gotta
and look
add-
at the cost.
Yeah, the cost could up to the amount of what we pay right now after the cost of everything, but first unemployment and all that.
First year.
I mean, it sounds
And
excellent,
a
but
year
we've got to
unemployment?
dot all the Ts, you
Yeah.
know, so.
That's what I'm saying, you really
So,
sit
but I
down
think
and
that's already
sit down
wrong.
and look at
Yeah.
the
The
cost
dispatchers
analysis.
It's
we
gotta be
did for you.
comprehensive.
60,
It does, and like I said,
is it
this is just a
63
brief
weeks?
overview.
Yeah.
If you all are.
Congress
so.
said 63 weeks, that's a year and
I'll gladly
2
invest
months
the
on
time
When
in
that's
it's
doing
senior
basically.
landing, and
I'll gladly invest the time into doing
I
that.
think that was.
Uh,
But it's not how much
Lay
what
it out
they
for
actually
the
would have
best
got paid if they were working.
You got any more information about him there that we left out, or?
No, I think he pretty much covered it all, concerning the costs and
But what are you wanting us to do with this?
Well,
I mean,
The top sheet, this is just.
the next step, whatever you all suggest would be how you want to handle it, where you want to go to with it from here.
Second sheet, employee evaluation, this is the.
Like you said, get the public involved, see if they would be interested, some kind of a
Yeah.
poll or,
Yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
before you
The
make
only
it.
problem I'd have is one officer.
Daily activity
Huh?
sheet.
I believe I'd have a problem with that one officer.
no, he's got 25 officers that could be dispatched up here as needed. He has it's not like he's got, I mean, if there's an emergency up here, he would have enough officers there to cover it, regardless of the area. How many officers do you have?
Actually, 4 of us are just court security officers, they don't have jurisdiction
First to see
outside the
whether
justice.
they-
And the rest of all the other personnel.
Good. Yeah.
How much did you say? How many did you say, officers did you say you had?
I only have 4 that are what we call court security certified. They don't have jurisdiction outside the justice center unless they are doing transports or serving up process. They're not doing that. Other than that, they're not allowed to be out like doing routine police work. But now we have, counting the detectives, chief deputy, and everybody, we have 19 people. Count myself as 20.
And those would be available for any kind of an emergency that you might
Well,
have.
yeah, whether you go this or not,
Each
if you have a
officer
major
every day
event,
has
if
Yeah,
it's
I
a
mean,
plane call,
right, yeah.
we're
Their
gonna be here.
footwear,
Yeah.
Whatever he needs.
they have to
We
document.
can be here regardless.
every day.
Yes, we
Yeah.
definitely can.
Person.
bring-
Each officer activity report every day.
You know, that's like when the little grenade thing went off, the little kids playing grenades in Lynch.
That's another
You know,
paper.
Dale was up there, I mean, Dale, he worked at Cumberland then too.
Now,
This is
We all
for each
try to work
officer.
together for the most part.
those activities seem to be altered for city police.
City police.
Well, what I was looking at was, it looks like you all do, you just got an activity report for everything you did during the day for each officer, right?
Right,
They do them daily.
Date, time,
right,
what they checked on.
right.
And at the end of the month, I will tally all that up and I'll give him the end result.
And then there's one here that says, inspection report. It goes into detail in the uniforms, footwear, grooming,
Yep.
weapons, vehicle appearance. It even has interior, exterior, trunk,
I do those monthly.
engine cleaning. You all check all this?
Yes, I think he does it monthly.
So the vehicles are washed and cleaned? Y'all take care of all that?
Went through David's car wash when I came up here.
Then the other one I noticed is employee performance evaluation. How often do you do
We're doing
that?
that quarterly now. We're doing that quarterly now.
Need to do that everywhere.
And that's something that take-home doesn't require.
Yeah.
But strongly recommends. So we're just doing that quarterly.
Well, we appreciate all this information.
All right, like I said, y'all want to, I'll gladly do it more in depth.
the citizens out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
agree.
telling you, we've got a fine police force. I'm telling you, here.
So we need to let the public know.
Try to get their
Get their
opinion.
input.
Yeah, get their reading from them.
Talk about it
And,
next month.
this looks like military. I better go back in service for it right here.
That's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, but I'm sure we're going to give it some serious consideration. And it would be I always believe anytime you consolidate, you save. And this is another form of consolidation right here. Because you've got, he's really got a company or a business set up. He's got all the equipment, manpower, and materials it takes to serve the entire county.
Well, the things like the public thinks of, and us too, is I know that we provided good service, but you know we got to look at our.
Look at
The
our
public
buildings.
has to look at everything.
Yeah.
You know, we got our employees to think about, and it's a big decision. To
Huge step. It is.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yeah.
you let this out in the public, and our citizens would be irate, a lot of them, unless things is explained to them.
yeah.
They would be thinking we didn't have anybody on duty, so we would have to do this in the right way.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that?
Yeah.
If y'all want my cell phone number, is 909-0701.
What was it again?
909-0701.
If there's no further questions on that, while the sheriff is here, would you make a motion to change item 5 and 6 to the next item so we can
Can't make
approve
a
the
motion.
resolutions?
I make that motion.
You can't make a motion that's not on the agenda. It'll make the meeting illegal.
Okay.
We don't want any more of those fiascos.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is Waste Connection Representative. I'll tell you what we'll do, I'll get
More
these.
likely gonna pass, I mean, so I can call Donna and tell her that we're not gonna print.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any objections to that, those resolutions that you've had in front of you?
I don't. I mean,
Okay,
All right, then, thank you. I'll see y'all later.
thank you,
Thank you
Sheriff.
for coming.
Y'all cell phone process,
I'll be done with this.
You might regret that.
379-314.
We have Arian Russell and Carl Town who are with the Waste Connection, and that was another suggestion that we had in cost conservative. And I believe Mr. Town is going to be the spokesperson. Is Aaron?
My name's Carl Town. I represent Waste Connections. We have the solid waste agreement with the county. A couple of weeks ago, we understand that your truck broke down. The mayor asked us to come up and just kind of explain what we do. What I'd like to state here first, if you do anything based on this, this is done between you and the county. We have a contract with the county. You would just be tying into their contract, just like the sheriff told you about his process. It would be an interlocal agreement. We talked to the judge executive, the county attorney. They have no problem doing it. So basically what would happen is we would come in and perform your solid waste service. The main thing you would have to do is do an interlocal agreement. The county attorney and the judge wanted to, the city attorney to draw it up, and you would draw it up based on you know, the parts that you would continue doing the billing for the city, and you would keep the distance between the rates that we have in our contract, which is going to be on the next page. We would take over the commercial building, and we'd pay you 7.5% franchise fee, just like we do the county. And our agreement with the county runs to December 31st, 2019. So you're looking at about 7 years, 3 months. The second page, or the third page in here, is the residential rates. Currently, right now, we bill $15.99 to the county residents. The city, or the county, keeps $1.60, and we get $14.39. If you joined in, it would be the same thing. We would bill, you would bill to $15.99, you would keep $1.60 and pay us $14.39.
Okay.
These rates adjust basically 50 cents per year, so it's $6 a year increase to determine this contract per residential home.
The people would pay $6 more
Every year.
The whole year, not $6 a month.
No, it's 50 cents. Every year it goes up 50 cents per month, so it's $6 a year increase. Throughout the whole term, if you look at it,
he's got it broken down there.
what remains here through 2019, the average price to the residents would be $17.83. You know, because we're starting out at a low side and going to a high side. I understand right now that the city currently charges $16 to the residents. So, you know, the residents right now is not going to see a difference, and it's up to you. How, you know, you can bill more, you can hold it back.
Right.
You know, we just get the net. You know, we've seen in other agreements like this where a city decides, well, you know, they don't want to pass it all on to them, and they'll hold that price for, you know, 2 years, and they'll eat a little bit out of their net part that they're getting. Based on the residential 900 homes, we're estimating that, you know, just on the residential side, the city keeps about $18,000 a year to do what they're doing right now, billing. Nothing really changes other than who's picking the garbage up. When you go to the commercial side of it, under our contract with the county, we have to do the billing of commercial. And we do that billing, and then we'll pay you 7.5%. We'll show you the reports for the grocery receipts that we get from the commercial. And special pickup is, you know, if it's when we're in town on the collection days, if, you know, they got bulky waste or whatever, we charge $21 a hopper full, which is about 3 yards. We understand that you're charging like $40 per pickup load right now. You know, depending on how much they put in that pickup, an average pickup bed is 2 yards. So, you know.
So they could get rid of 3 yards for $21.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're charging 40 right now for, if it's just rounded, you know, maybe 2 or 3 yards. So. But if we have to make a special trip back up here for something, there would be a $50 service fee.
Okay.
You know, if, like, say an apartment building, they were having a move out, and they had the bulky stuff put out there, if we can get it on the same day we normally would pick up the garbage there, then it would be just a hopper fee. But if they said it, you know, it needs to be done because, you know, before the weekend, and we had to make a special trip back, there would be an extra $50 set flat fee for that.
So this is door to door.
Door to door, it would be
1 time a week.
1 time a week. Back, we understand there's probably
That's what we do right now.
some elderly people that can't get their garbage down. We would, you know, provide special service for them.
What kind of special service?
We wouldn't require them to bring it to the curb. We would come up. It's
Because I
like,
may be there before too long.
well, we all may be there before too long. But, you know, we would have to have a release.
I need to know.
That'd be
what it is.
bad.
Sign
I call
saying
Wayne and
that
say,
we
"Come Wayne,
on
come up and help me
property."
drag this over to the curb."
You know, we know you currently have 3 employees. We will offer positions to employees that will be displaced, but, you know, there's a pre-employment background check that we have to do. There's your analysis, you know, physicals, DOT for our trucks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as they pass that, we would offer employment.
And employment at, what rate would they begin, and would their seniority be lost?
Listen to
Well,
this.
your seniority would be lost because
Wait till you hear this.
they're not with the county or with the city. Our rates, I would tell you, I know it's higher than yours. We start them at a base.
110 per day.
110 per
They start
day.
out, so they make it through their 30 days.
$110.
And
A
then
day?
we go to what?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes.
And that's based on average.
We've already lost 3 employees.
I think we'd be doing
45 hours.
Yeah.
Yes,
They'd be
ma'am.
mad at us for saying we're doing away with the service. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, at least we know. We also, just to, like I said, I think our pay scale is a little higher than what the city's currently
Yeah.
paying. We offer, 401k profit sharing, medical preferred plans, dental, vision, long-term disability, life insurance. We're a public company. We're one of the Fortune 500 companies. We've been doing business in Harlan County for a long time, and we want to continue to do it. But like I said, this is not an agreement you're making with us. This is a partnership with the county. All you're doing is, agreeing to tag on with them.
And this agreement would go through,
It would go through December 31st, 2019.
that's a big long term.
That is, but that's, under that same long term, that's why we're fixed the rates on residential at 50 cents a year increase. There's no, we're accepting responsibility for fuel on that.
There's no danger of that increase ever changing. In other words, this is set in stone.
That's the contract. Right now, your garbage truck's, I believe, 12 years old. No matter what you do with it, after 12 years, it don't have much left.
Yeah.
So,
Basically band-aiding it together. Right.
well,
Am I
ma'am, I'm
wrong?
gonna tell you,
Nobody wants
Are
to
we
get
just
out.
basically band-aiding our packer together every
That's all
day?
we can do with it.
but I'm not gonna put a truck on the road if it's iced over or whatever, because it's not worth getting losing a life over a bag of garbage.
But you will pick it up
We
later
will
on
make
that
it
week
up.
when the roads. You will make it up. In other words, it's not lost.
No, it's not long. Depending on how long it would be like that, if it's 2-3 days, then it might be the following week when we pick it up, but we'll pick up everything they have out.
Holiday, we get it the next day.
But if it's just a one-day thing, we usually run 1 day behind.
Do you lend us boxes whenever we need them, dumpsters, the city, like we have a special occasion?
We would provide to the city for, like, if you got a special festival or something, a 30-yard box, we provide you one for that festival.
Okay.
Under this, we will also provide the city free service for here at City Hall and the city garage. And
For a year
the
to get rid of.
Main Street receptacles out here,
Yeah.
we would accept the garbage for free if it was brought to the city garage.
If we brought the
Receptacle
containers
garbage
to the,
But we
okay.
would have a dumpster sitting in the city garage, a little 8-yard, and a dumpster put out here for the city, and we would pick up here the garbage for the city
Okay.
facilities for free.
So basically, is this telling me that we don't need a place up there then for the guys for
All that garbage sitting in the city,
Yeah,
Shut that
yeah, we could get
building
the
down.
garbage out of the middle of the city, yes.
where it
Yeah.
looks bad.
You'd have to have a dumpster
I
somewhere.
wonder if it smell better at the
You
police
would
department.
have
Yeah,
a
we'd have
normal
to have
dumpster
one.
in your
Yeah.
garage, but I mean, it's not, we're gonna be here at least 2-3 times a week.
3 times a week.
So if you were, if you had somebody come out here and did the city receptacles and took them down there to an 8-yard dumpster, it wouldn't be staying there more than maybe 24 hours.
Right. What about our parks?
Parks,
We've
what do
got
you?
3.
You got 3 parks? We could probably work something out with you on that. But we would expect that, it's not set up that, it's for normal activities. It's not, everybody and their brother taking their bag of garbage down there and throwing it out and expect us to
I think each one of them only has a few cans set up in the park.
Yeah.
something like that, we would probably just run through the park and get it for you.
Because they're just, I think some of them, I may be wrong, I think some of them are just bear cans that, you know, they got to keep the bears out.
Yeah, we know about those.
I don't think
Can I ask you
the,
about retirement?
Retirement?
Yeah. Do we have any retirement? You're starting around at 12 something an hour?
We don't have a retirement plan other than 401k.
Okay.
oh, you do have
Under that
401?
401k, our company matches the 5% of the first of your 5% of your 50%.
Wayne, you may want a job with the garbage.
How long does it take that to invest that though? It takes 5 years to invest that?
Ours is best under 5 years right now. Yeah. So
you're gonna work 5 years and you ain't got nothing.
Yeah.
well, you still got chores,
Yeah, but that ain't, I mean.
but you don't get the company match. The company match though. But on day one, they are putting the money in that same account, so it's drawing interest and stuff for you too. It's like all our stuff goes into an account, and
You
it's
go through the
based.
county, you said? You go through the county?
No, we don't. It's through we're a public company, so we have our own retirement plans and stuff like that. But the way it's set up too is you can go online and depending on how brave you are, I mean, you can put your money into 10%, 100% of it into risky stocks, or you can put it into bonds. You can, you're able to set your own goals for what you want. Plus, the company that we go through, which is ING, the employees can call them up and talk to them, free financial advice. This is what I need to plan for college for my kids. How's the best way to put my money? So, at the end of the day, the company, to me, is one of the best ones I've worked for. I've been with Waste Connections since 2001. I was part owner in a company, and we sold out to them, and had the benefit of staying on with them, and they're great. It's more of a family atmosphere. We're not, again, Aaron told you that that money that we're talking about is based on 45 hours a week. Most public garbage companies are telling you they want you out there 60 hours a week. We expect you to be home with your family. We want you to enjoy spending time with your family.
Where's the office located?
Huh?
Main office, where's it located?
Our main office, we have a local office over in Coalfield.
Cold iron.
Cold Iron.
Oh,
excuse me.
Cold Iron, I started
What's
thinking,
your main central
I,
office?
I deal with a lot of different counties and stuff. I apologize. Cold Iron
It's
area.
all right.
The local office that oversees the area is in Lilly, Kentucky.
No, that's it.
Our regional office for this company is in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, goodness.
Hey, come on now. Don't start.
Hey,
I'm wearing blue
you're
tonight.
listening
Come
to
on,
the
let me come up here in my
incorporated
orange.
as a city.
City
Ah.
corporate.
What was the
And then our
city
corporate
incorporated? What year
office
was
just
this
moved to
incorporated?
Houston, right outside of Houston.
26, 23, 24, 23.
Again,
1923.
this whole thing has, really is agreement between you and the county. I think though, if you'll check with the county, all the districts, they'll tell you that our service is above, the best they've ever had in the county.
What other just cities are you doing? Are we exploratory? Are we the first city?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We do Middlesboro. In Harlan County, you would be the first city we actually do. Everybody all the little cities kind of do their own thing. We do Middlesboro. We have, going down in Tennessee, we do Knoxville, Oak Ridge. I mean, we're not,
I just wondered about around.
yeah, we can do small towns. We do Russellville, Kentucky. Trying to think of the city of Bowling Green.
You do some small areas and big
We
areas.
do small, big. We do
Sounds
county
like no job too big or too
franchises. We
small.
do whatever. We're also a landfill company, so we're an integrated company.
Right now, you're more or less, in this area, you're doing county pickup.
We're doing the county here. We do Breathitt County, Perry County, Floyd County, Harlan. We go over Pulaski County, Logan County, Warren County. We're all across the bottom part of southeast and central Kentucky. And then basically, if you take I-75 down to Chattanooga, we're doing majority of the counties and cities through there.
You do a lot of pickups here in Cumberland for the county right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
That's what I guess I
Yeah.
meant
And we
to
have
ask,
3
and it didn't
employees,
get
you
across that
say,
way.
on the waste connections. And you're not for sure if those 3 employees would be transitioned. You don't have a for sure answer on that one.
I could not tell you that for sure. I mean,
Or
we
if you
have
would
to go
even
through
be
the
needing
process.
them.
Well, we're going to be needing some people, yes. We always have some openings.
But they have to pass your physicals,
Yeah, they have
tests,
to
drug
pass the drug
tests.
test and all that in order to qualify for it.
They have, 2 of them have CDL, so they should be
We,
pretty, you know.
Should be doing
ma'am,
that test anyway.
one thing, I know the county sheriff here was telling you all about how they treat their
No.
cars and, inspections and stuff like that. We do that with our garbage trucks. We do quarterly inspections, our evaluations of route observations of our drivers to make sure they're not out there doing anything unsafe. All our trucks have what we call drive cam in them. It's a camera that records when an event happens, either they hit their brakes too hard, they went around a curve too fast, there was an accident, anything that jarred that truck. This camera goes off and it records
What's
records
happening?
8 seconds before and 4 seconds after that event. And we use that to train our drivers. Life is valuable. We don't want to be one of the ones out there that's involved in accidents. So we're doing everything we can to teach our drivers and train them, how to be safe.
So basically, like with what we were talking about with the employees, if you needed employees, they could apply for the job if they passed the test. They could possibly get a job with it.
Yes.
As long as they can
I
pass
can't
your
guarantee 100% because I don't know.
right, but they have to pass the requirements, like any other job you go to.
And you was talking about that 401K not paying for so long. I worked for the state, and it was 10 years before I actually earned my retirement, even though I put in. See what
Oh,
I'm
yeah, you
saying?
gotta have 10 years.
So I mean,
Yeah.
that's, you said 5 years, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, that's better than
best-
what
that's
the
best.
state law.
Retirement.
You see
Yeah.
today's report about.
Yeah, that's best.
Yeah.
No, I do, mine's separate.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
because the state's way past.
No, I put my money somewhere else.
That's not retirement.
Now,
If you work up to 10 years, they're still not getting, or retire, or 9 years, they're still not getting.
Yeah, it depends on how much you want to put in it. And unfortunately, there's people who take advantage of 401Ks and there's people who don't. And,
Like I say, Phil, if you don't play the stock market, you want to put it safe, I think people lose.
Oh, my.
well,
Yeah.
yeah,
I've heard of what you're talking
Something
about.
fixed.
I will tell you that when the economy tanked, 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when it really hurt, I lost 30% of the value I had in it.
Next year will be bad.
But what I will also tell you is based on dealing with the people in the financial place, ING, talking with them, I've gained that 30% back plus another 30 in the past 5 years. So it's depending on what you're wanting to do and how much you want to get out there and look at it. The same thing with our company
And
stock.
basically what you invest your
We're a
time
public
in to make sure your
company,
money is taken care of.
Have stock that can be bought. Our company has, in the past, since we went public 15 years ago, our stock price has appreciated over
So I turned it over to
800%.
Ricky because I don't fool with those.
So that's, almost 30%.
What-
Well, pretty close to 30% a year.
Our garbage packer, it's in poor condition right now. Would you purchase it from us?
If we purchased it, all we could give you is what municipal equipment or one of the equipment dealers would give us. And what we would suggest is that you just go to them direct, but we would help you. It's possible depending on, what the truck looks like. You can put it on govdeals.com and get a better price. For a 12-year-old truck, it really don't make a lot of sense, but we could get a price based on appraisal, and that's what we would offer you. But if we would turn right around and sell it right back to them.
But if say, let's decide not to go this route and want to buy a new truck, what would a new truck cost us?
Well, you guys get the tax breaks that we don't, but I would think a 20-yard truck for you right now
That's what we
would
have.
be a minimum of about $165,000-$170,000.
Yeah.
I used to haul a roll-off truck, it doesn't have a packer on it,
Totally.
and it cost me about $204,000. But you know, I'm paying FET and sales tax, and you back that back down, you know, I ended up paying probably about $185,000 for just basically a truck in a dump wreck.
Well, this truck we have, we